Okay, hello to everyone that is watching this client interview. You are with Noor here, and yeah, welcome back to another one. Today, I'm joined by one of our longest standing clients, Ethan, who also had a interview a while back with Charlie himself, and obviously now he's upgraded to having one
Mm.
with me instead now. But no, jokes aside. Ethan's been with us for a very long time, and since the last interview he done with Charlie, um, a lot has happened since then. So I thought I'd just give an updated one, or do an updated one with Ethan, just to keep everyone in the loop, as well as share his success with a lot of new people, that are now following us, because of course the audience has grown quite a fair bit. So Ethan, like I said before, man, appreciate you doing the updated interview this time with myself. For people that are watching this, why don't you give them an introduction on who you are, who you serve, and the transformation that you deliver?
Yeah, man. I'll just give a quick background. So before EasyGrow, quick story, like straight out of high school, started an agency. That agency, I think I did like some beginner course, ended up targeting e-com brands. I think you know a lot about e-com brands too, but and how much they don't want to be sold to. So 7 months went by and I didn't book like a single meeting. So then at that point, I realized, okay, it made a lot more sense to sell something that people actually want. That does make sense. So I ended up going into appointment setting for agencies, and I scaled that one up to there. I got a couple clients. I was doing pretty well, but then I saw EasyGrow that was called Imperium before, when it was still a Facebook group and a Kajabi or something.
Old school.
Old school, man. We were there. But yeah, so I initially saw Charlie doing well. And because I just wanted to get as good results as possible for my clients, and I wanted to learn just like the thinking behind running the business, I ended up joining Imperium with like they got like 1,000 in the bank, and they got me on some crazy split payment. But got in there, just kept growing the business, kept scaling, ended up, using a lot of the systems in Imperium at the time, with that's the mindset stuff, some sales stuff too. I saw how Charlie used to run Northflow. So we just upgraded our delivery over time. So instead of just appointment setting, we would build out the offers, we'd run the bookings, we'd run this, sales consulting, all of that, and then eventually helping with like ops and everything there too. So that's what got me into Imperium. And then now, if you want me to go into more detail on what we're doing now, but that's pretty much how I got into it.
Yeah, killer stuff, man. And just to paint the people watching a picture here, obviously I know at the moment we're transitioning to a bit of a done with you format with
Mm.
your business, right? But to paint a bit of a picture as to how far you got the done for you agency, let them know what revenue you managed to get it to.
Mm. Yeah. So after we started working on end-to-end sales, so everything from the offer to bookings to sales, and then also on that operations too, because what we do is we used to speak to our seven-figure clients or even our eight-figure agency clients. We got a lot of insight as to what they were doing. So we just take those systems and apply it across all of them.
Mm,
So in doing that, the clients got obviously much better results, and we ended up scaling that one to around 50, 60K. But then
nice.
at that point, we saw operationally it became a bit of a headache.
Yeah.
So we had full-on plans. I think I even said to Charlie, we're like, I'm getting to 100K, I'm getting to 150K. And then I
Yeah.
spoke to him and he's like, nah, like don't do that. So then at that point, I'm here back in EasyGrow,
Yeah.
um, focusing on the consulting. So Charlie recommended moving to the consulting model where I can take all the insights we learned in scaling like 90 agencies, both on the acquisition and ops, and then just apply that in a like a systemized protocol.
Yeah, there we go, man. And we're going to dig into that a bit
Yeah.
more deeper. So when you've actually first started Ethan, I know it was a while back because, like you said, it was
Oh man.
ages ago with the before even EasyGrow. So to people watching this, before
Yeah.
EasyGrow, the first variation of the product was something called Imperium Agency Program, and it was good times back in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
It was cool. So even when you were in there, talk to me how you sort of approached things, man. So you were at like you only had 1K in the bank, right? You needed the business to work, of course. How did you navigate the course and what really got things going for you?
Yeah. There were a lot of things. But I remember that night specifically when I paid it, I was like, bruh, like I need it. So I think I stayed up all night that first night just implementing it because at the time I was doing purely LinkedIn outreach for my clients and I was
Yeah.
doing appointment setting, obviously. So there was a point where LinkedIn had this crazy restriction and we couldn't send like any message. My clients' accounts got banned. It's like, I
Mm.
need something else. So as soon as I got into EasyGrow, I was like, all nighter. And I just started going through the methods that they had in there. So like the email stuff, like some of the Facebook outbound stuff, all of that, and then just applying it for my clients. And then it worked. It worked very well. And then actually the LinkedIn stuff cleared up and then, it's actually working again fine. But then what I realized, I actually ended up staying for like the other stuff, the mindset stuff,
Yeah.
which was arguably the most important part of it.
Yeah, exactly that. That's funny. It's like literally all the interviews I've personally done, where it's like with people yourself, they always highlight like the mindset
Mm.
part. Is like it's a
Yeah.
game changer because I think many people just assume naturally, especially the younger crowd and even the older crowd, to be fair, where they think they don't need it, but
Yeah.
actually when they get into the program and they see some of the content, it's like, wow, that's a massive
Yeah.
shift, not just with my identity, but how I approach business now, which results in success.
Yeah, man. It's super humbling too. Like,
Yep.
especially coming from like high school. It's like, oh, you're getting good marks, super easy, like one of the top
Yeah.
in the school or whatever. And it's like, oh, you need to like learn some mindset stuff to make up your bed. I'm like, no, 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 I'm not doing that. And then it's
Yep.
like you don't even realize the importance of it until you're watching YouTube at 10 a.m. And it's like, oh man, I should be sending outreach.
Yeah, yeah. That's literally it. 100%. And you know, is there anything in particular, Ethan? And you can mention, anything about the old Imperium program, or obviously EasyGo right now. Is there anything specific that you really love about the overall program? For example, the different coaching calls, the modules, the group support. Is there anything specific that like really has helped you get to the point where you're at?
You know, that's a really good question. And besides the you in the community answering the questions, that's number one. But number two, besides that, it's I heard this quote from Sam Ovens, and he was pretty much saying like a lot of people they don't make good things not because they don't want to, but because they just don't know what good looks like.
Mm,
So in my case now, where I'm looking to build out the program, looking to build out a like a done with you systematic solution, seeing Charlie's program is like that is the benchmark.
yeah.
So I've been through all the programs. Like I'm not going to say names, but I've seen all the people they on YouTube like shouting with uh, their Loro Pianas or whatever clothes they wear. But because of that, like that's the standard. So by
Yes.
putting that level of detail into every single module, I'm like, man,
Yeah.
now when I'm making mine, it's like talking about different things, but it's like still, man, like it has to be up to that standard in terms of specificity. And just having that alone, besides the actual content, besides the mindset, besides the thinking and frameworks and all of that, I mean, that alone is very, very useful.
Yeah, that's killer to know, man. And it's funny you mention that because it's like it's obviously it's music to our ears because it's like great.
Mm.
The program set the standard for people like yourself, where it's like, wow, this is something else compared to everything else I've
Yeah,
taken. And of course, it helps you build a better product because naturally you want it to be great. It's also a bit of a curse because what tends to happen, and I'm sure you've seen this, right? You're you're sometimes beating yourself up where you're like, oh man, program's not
yeah,
good enough, program's not good enough, program's not good enough. And what tends to happen is you don't end up launching anything.
yeah.
But actually, you can't get it perfect the first time round. And it's the same with EasyGo, right? If you remember the first variation of
Mm.
Imperium, there was different levels until it became what it is
Mm.
now. And it's funny because I spoke to another client called Prasad. So shout out to Prasad if he's watching, but he basically helps barbers scale up to 20K per month and beyond like he did, right? He told me the same thing like as you were. He's like, man, this program set the bar. I'm trying to
Yeah.
get my program like that. But then the
Mm.
issue he's facing, he's like, I'm trying to get it perfect. I'm trying to get it perfect. But it's like, let's get something launched and it's going to perfect itself
Yeah.
over time.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Like I always wanted to know what the best is so that I can just compare to that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people they say like you hear this a lot. Well, I heard it a lot when I was starting out. They were like most people don't actually put that much effort in, like into their programs and
No?
stuff. And I didn't believe it until I started getting other programs after that.
Yeah.
And then I kept coming back to it because I was like, man, like they didn't, I don't know, maybe they didn't want to try as much, but you realize there's very, very few people who are actually putting that much effort in.
Yeah, it's actually quite it's a bit scary because it's funny because Charlie launched an email to the list yesterday to do with products where it's like, hey,
Mm,
look, like you don't it's so easy to get ahead of your competition now because your competition are
mm,
building mediocre products
yeah,
and they're able to do that because their clients don't know any better. In their
yeah,
clients' mind, they probably think, oh wow, this is great. But then if
yeah.
you step in and build something that is actually great and it just separates you, and all it takes is surprisingly, it's minimal effort. Like I'm sure you've seen it, Ethan, where you're probably
Mm,
looking at other courses similar to you, to what you're building now, where it's like, oh, there's not much effort being had here. And there's a quote where I saw on Facebook, it's got its positives, but then it's got its negatives. It's like, right, you don't have to be the best in the world. You just have to be the best in a few people's worlds.
mm,
So
mm,
the reason why that's such a good quote is because you don't need to be a 10-10 expert, whatever, to earn an incredible amount of money, right? And it's true. However, the reason why it's a bad one is because you can read that quote and assume, oh, I just need to be the best in this person's world and
mm,
the best in these people's world. It may
yeah,
not even be good. So then it's like,
yeah.
I'm just going to get away with a mediocre product. So, like you said, man, you should never set the bar so low that it's just good enough for these clients. It should always be like right here.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's going to come falling down, right?
100%. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah,
Scarred for life.
you always know. You always know,
Yeah,
man. There you go. So, Ethan, in terms of like when you first joined like the program and whatnot, and I know you said you were doing the setting agency, and I know you faced like issues with LinkedIn, like you mentioned, and you needed something else. Were there any other specific problems that you needed solving on your end, such as booking appointments for yourself, sales? Like, were there anything else that you needed help with?
so I went through training before Charlie's one,
Yeah,
and I already had some fundamental experience. The main thing I wanted from Charlie, and it's coming back now with the consulting, is the specialized knowledge.
nice.
So I came in thinking, oh, I just need LinkedIn and then I'll crush it. I'll be at 100K. No, like it never happens,
You,
ever.
yeah,
Yeah. Like every interview is probably saying the same thing. Like, oh, I just needed some emails.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, so I came in needing LinkedIn or thinking I needed LinkedIn, actually ended up needing like a life
Everything.
coach, but yeah, like a
There
whole
we go.
psychotherapy session. But yeah, man, the mindset, that is a big one. Um, in terms of who I was before I started the business, I can't even imagine. It's
Yeah,
like if I was taking this call with you, man, I would be like panicking, bro. Like
yes,
even every sales call I had is like I didn't even want to take the call. It's like I
yeah,
literally need money, but it's, I don't want to take the call because I don't know. But
yeah.
now it's like
This is the breeze.
complete opposite. Yeah, man.
That's it,
I'm sure
man.
it's the same on your side.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. Well, not on the sales side because I still, I still hate sales calls. That's why I'm in operations now, like we spoke.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna tell you, Ethan. Like that brings me onto my next question here, and it's perfect because you just briefly mentioned it. How does Ethan version one compare to the Ethan that I'm speaking to today? And obviously, the version one was a while back before you joined
Yeah.
the first program, and you gave you know, a bit of a brief glimpse into what that version looked like, where scared of sales calls, didn't want to take it, even though you needed it. Talk to me, man. What were like some of the limiting beliefs you broke, the habits that you integrated? Like, talk to me.
Bro, like where do I start? Like it's just the idea of it's crazy, but I think the first one was just like extremely, it's like if you don't come from like a corporate environment, you don't know what business is like. So because of that, the whole idea of talking to someone who's double your age, even triple your age in some
Yes.
cases, and you're the one responsible for giving them advice and them the implementation of your service, like that whole concept is like,
What the hell's going on?
so
Yeah.
yeah. So because of that, you feel like you have no authority. I was some like skinny kid from South Africa, like a buzz cut or something. So it's like, yeah, that's the worst part. But besides the buzz cut, like super shy, didn't want to talk to anyone. Another thing is like I would completely put off doing anything, complete procrastinate, shiny object,
Yeah.
ADHD, not like in a medical sense, but like
Yeah, yeah,
just
of
so
course. I
scattered,
get what you
you
mean.
know? Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't focus, yeah, like not being able to focus on one thing. So, and just living in like complete fear. And because of that, it made things very difficult.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. And now that person compares to this person where everything's a lot more natural and a breeze, and you're just taking it day by day and
Yeah.
everything's effortless.
Yeah. It's like when you make the transition, and I think a lot of it comes just from straight experience. Like
Yes.
working with like 90 agencies, it's
Yes.
like you at first you're like, yeah, like try it, but like I don't know if it's gonna work.
Yeah.
After the 90th time, it's like, no, do this. They're like, no, it won't work. Like, no, just do that. Like it will work. So
Yeah.
you build this own inner sense of confidence. And that just shines through everything. So like the team, the clients, the sales calls. It's like you don't come on a sales call like, oh, like please buy from me. It's like, no, like you need this. Like if you don't do this, like you are going, this is gonna happen. Like this failure is gonna happen.
Yeah.
So you just get that feeling of actual expertise. And that actually shines through, I mean, everywhere in life. Just like being more decisive, being more confident, being able to just speak to anyone confidently. Like it's very big. I
Yeah.
think you'll know as well, but like business is like the biggest like self-development
Oh,
activity that you could possibly do.
100%, man. It's like even from a personal standpoint, like I
Mm,
didn't succeed in business with my ecom agency. Like I got a couple clients, right? But they
mm.
didn't pan out the way I thought it would, right?
Yeah.
The years that I put in that helped me develop as a person and the skills I learned, the characteristics,
Mm,
traits and whatnot,
yeah.
have also put me in the position I'm in now. And it's like it just goes to show like to people even watching this, like if you failed or if you're struggling even, guess
Yeah.
what? You're still getting a ton of,
Yeah.
brownie points there that are molding your
Yeah.
character that can still
Yeah.
succeed either in business or somewhere else. So
Yeah.
it's massive, as Ethan says there. And Ethan, like what you said there is bang on about experience, and I'm sure you'd agree with this. Yes, things like mindset coaching and the mindset module, right? They'll help you massively. But at the end of the day, when you supplement that with actually taking action and just
Yeah.
gathering some real life experience on certain areas that you may be afraid of, like sales, like even heading to the gym, making a habit of
Mm,
getting up early, it's a game changer.
yeah. The way that I kind of conceptualize it for myself, because I had to make, even for myself, I had to make like a very logical case to actually do the mindset stuff. I'm like, why am I sitting here closing my eyes thinking about doing the work? Like, that's
Yeah,
pretty dumb, but it actually works. So it's almost like you visualize it positively to get yourself to do the action, which is the most important thing. If you don't do the action, it's literally pointless. But as you keep doing the action, you begin to positively reinforce doing that thing. So it's like if you visualize practicing sales and then you start practicing sales and you get better at sales and you close a client on one call for 5K, it's like, now it's like, oh, sales is pretty nice. Like it's actually pretty useful.
there we go.
So then it becomes like, oh, now I actually like this. And it's the same in business on a macro sense. Like a lot of clients that ask me, they'll be like this isn't fun. Like lead
Mm,
sourcing isn't fun. Outreach isn't fun. I don't like this. I'm like, just do it until you get to the point where you can get someone else to do it and you just focus on the things that you like. And then at that point, like you actually will like business.
that's
And
it.
then it gets to the point where I think like Charlie's at, where it's like it's all he does, but he doesn't want to do anything else. Because it's like
Yeah,
this is the mission, this is the goal, and it's fun.
yeah. There we go. There we go, man. And Ethan, just pulling back slightly because a lot of people want this. Uh, Obviously the mindset stuff. You know how it's like it's great, but people just want to look beyond that sometimes and look for the juicy outreach
Yeah.
tactics and strategies that they think is the be all and end all. For you, just a quick one. Was there any particular strategy from the program that you used that really blew up your agency in terms of getting appointments for yourself? and just getting those deals across the line and scaling things up. Was it Terminator Loom, DM Sorcery? Like, what really worked for you, man?
The DM sorcery was very good.
Hmm.
So I remember joining, I had a LinkedIn strategy, and that's why that Welby system's there.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
But then adding on EasyGrow or
Yeah,
Imperium slash EasyGrow's level of scientific tracking, it
yeah,
just made it exponentially better. Because when I
yeah,
was doing it at the start, it was like I was consistent, I was disciplined, but it was like if someone asked me how many messages did you send, I would be like,
yeah.
I don't know, my brain shut off after 20. Like, who
There
knows?
we go.
Like I'm operating on like no sleep,
Yeah,
like who knows? But Charlie emphasized on the fact of tracking, um, and just having all the numbers and having actual KPIs and just the idea of being scientific and analytical with the data. That is a big one. So I guess that applied to everything.
yeah,
So
yeah.
now it's like sales calls. It's like I'll ask my clients, what's your close rate? They'll be like, I don't know, 30%. I'm like, how many calls do you take? I don't know.
I don't know.
So it's like, how do you know it's 30%? Well,
That's
I'll get
it.
it on sales calls. I'll ask them if they're good at sales. Be like, yeah, I close at 30%. They always say 30%. But yeah, so just having that analytical thinking across everything, I guess that would now be acquisition genesis.
Pretty much.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but in the past, it was just like
It was just scattered in
modeling.
the modules and whatnot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just
Yeah.
like modeling his way of thinking. Same with the coaching calls.
Yeah.
Like we'd get on and I'd see someone be like, Charlie, my campaigns aren't working.
And then Charlie
How do
just
I
done
fix it?
question
Charlie's
mark.
like, Charlie's like, what are your metrics? Like I didn't track it today. Charlie's like, okay, track it.
It's simple,
I'll
man.
be like, learn
Yeah,
the
and
lesson.
it's like it's funny because Bo even done that like a couple of weeks ago where someone said, "Oh, they're trying to fix their like sales process or whatever," but Bo must have asked, "Oh, what's the show up rate?" And the person said, "Oh,
Yeah.
I don't track show up rate. I just assume it's good." And it's like, "Whoa, don't we need to track metrics?" This, but no, you're 100%
Yeah.
right because sometimes people achieve blind success where they can't explain how they got there. It's like, oh yeah, I just put
Yeah.
in the work every day. It's like, all right, what does the work actually look like?
Yeah.
Oh, just a couple messages. Well, how many messages? Oh, I'm not sure. It's like, do you know what copy you used? Oh yeah, bit of this, bit of that. It's like,
Yeah.
and then when you get super specific and you know this, Ethan, like we got stuff in there where it's like, right, how many views did the VSL get? How many thumbs up
Mm.
did he get to get the VSL sent?
Yeah.
How many positive replies did he get? How many people booked into the specific calendar? How many people
Yeah.
actually showed up? And when you,
Yeah.
it sounds over the top, but when you get everything, it's like, okay, problems there, I'm gonna fix it. Problems there, I'm gonna fix it. And it's just a massive game changer because you're no longer a you're no longer in business playing the guessing game, which is a worst
Yeah.
thing you can do. Like you are making calculated decisions, which is fantastic. And even one thing I want to touch on, man,
Mm.
obviously done for you agency, scale that to around, I think you said like 50 to 60K a month. Um, why don't you share? I know we briefly spoke about it, but obviously, why don't you share with everyone else like what your plan at this moment in time is? Why you're starting to transition from the done for you and now what you're working on.
Yeah. So I mean the major catalyst to transitioning, like the main reason I did it was I had the conversation with Charlie, and he was pretty much saying that after working with that many agencies and getting that much insight into how to scale them, it makes more sense to package that solution up as opposed to continuing with the done for you.
Hmm.
Because at capacity, at the point where it's like a good margin and a good operation, it would be like 30 clients max on the done for you.
Yeah,
But with the done with you, I mean, we're already at like 40 people, 50 people in the group.
there we go.
So by doing that, we can just help a lot more people and help them in a much better way. So in terms of my focus right now, a lot of people when they switch to this new model, they just want to scale it like crazy. But
Yeah,
to be honest, I just want to build the product. Like
yeah, yeah,
there are so many insights after working with like all these 7 and 8 figure agencies. It's like I just need to like write it down at least.
yeah,
So building out the product right now, um, just finished like the delivery systems one. So how to actually like systemize the back end and all of that, gonna do sales and stuff now. And then once that's built, then I mean, just marketing it like crazy. Um, Scale that one up 100K, 200K for
yeah.
now.
There we go, man. And I know, like you said just before we started recording, right?
Mm,
Naturally, the done for you, it made more naturally because you had so many
yeah,
clients,
yeah,
but it made more for the time being because now you're
yeah.
still scaling this one up. And I think you said for the done with you program you're building out, is that like 20K mark per month mark around that,
But
or
they're
is it
done with
10?
you?
Yeah,
Yeah, around 20K.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
and
just
it's not.
from inbound
Yeah,
from
yeah.
some setting too.
And it's just you've not even finished it, right? Like you're
Nah,
still building out. So
yeah,
it's crazy because now you're in a position where, right, we built the 50K per month done for your agency. You worked with how many agency owners? 90, right?
yeah. In total across done for you and then consulting.
Yeah, 90 agency owners. And you're packaging that up into a product that's not even finished, and you've already hit less than half of the MRR from the done for you, and you got
Yeah,
more of your time and more of your sanity, I'm assuming,
yeah,
where, where you can focus a bit more on what matters, which is sick.
yeah. No, 100%. 100%. It's just like an implementation of more leverage. Like this is how we talk about it with the clients. It's like the done for you, the way I saw it is like this is the way to validate that this system works.
Yeah,
So we got one client or a couple clients. We tested that solution for bookings. It worked really well. We applied it across more. Then we tested a sales one. It worked across all, did it across more. Then they had a scaling problem like ops and systemizing the whole process, implemented that, worked across all. So now it's like we've found the proof of concept. We found something that fundamentally works across many different use cases. And now it's like, okay, you can just scale it across a whole lot of
yeah.
agencies.
There we go, man. There we go. And you know, one thing it's funny because again we spoke about this, I think, before we started recording, whatever at the start where you said, the agency's at 50K per month and you thought you were gonna gun it to 100K per month
Yeah.
before Charlie told you, yo, slow down. That's not the play.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on that because a lot of people watching and a lot of agency owners in general, and I've spoken to them, some of them being clients, right, where they chase the revenue number. And obviously I'm in operations, so I'll know this. You chase the
Mm.
revenue number, but if it's not in the appropriate business model with the appropriate operations, the 100K Stripe screenshot's fantastic,
Yeah.
but then the margins, they may be they if you do it right, maybe they're okay. Maybe like let's say 40%,
Mm.
okay, as the minimum, okay?
Yeah.
But then the problem beyond that as well is, and you'll know this, Ethan, because it's done for you, even if
Yeah.
you've got a bunch of people in place, you'll
Yeah.
still be heavily
Yeah.
involved. And then it's a matter of how does my lifestyle look now? Am I
Yeah.
am I happy? Yes, I got that 100K screenshot on Stripe, but am I really happy? So hey, that I found that interesting when Charlie told you, hey Ethan, don't do that because you're gonna end up hating what you've built. And I'm assuming that played into your decision as well, Ethan, because you don't want a 100K per month business for the sake of it being a 100K per month business. You want a 100K per month business that you can actually enjoy building and you can actually
Yeah.
have a life to live, outside of the business.
Bro, so much. I agree completely. Like there was a point when I was doing the done for you and I was taking sales calls from 1 p.m. till 1 a.m.
Yeah,
Like the calendar was just open the entire time. And then it reached a point where it is like, yeah, we're making all this money. The MRR is nice. Profit's very nice too. But it's like, I don't have time ever like for anything. And if it was the weekend, that's when I sleep. So it just didn't make sense.
yeah,
So yeah, the other model is I mean the appeal is there. The A lot of people they have a bad, and I did too. I remember when I started, people would be like, "Oh, you're gonna make a course." I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna make a course." Here I am making a course.
yeah.
But there's a very for some people, or at least I had this belief that there was like a stigma towards having a course.
You're right.
And it's because, yeah, and it's because a
Yeah,
lot of people have terrible courses.
that's
And
it.
it's like, yeah,
That's literally it.
yeah,
Like I knew exactly what you're gonna say there because there's a negative stigma around anyone that builds a course because
yeah,
they've seen other people take a bad course and they draw the conclusion of, oh, it's like a very common one is, oh, if this person done it himself, why would he share it with others? It's like
yeah,
this is a an info product, it's
Yeah.
a fantastic way to make money, right? And it's like, why wouldn't you build a course that's going to make you a lot more money, a lot of money, maybe even not more than depending on what your business
Yeah.
model is. But at the same time, you're going to help others.
Yeah.
But because there's so many poor quality products out there, like you said, Ethan, it's like this course, but
Yeah.
it's like this discrimination to course creators, like
Genuine.
this, where it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Ethan's selling the course. He's probably a scam artist, snake
Yeah.
oil salesman. So yeah, man, it's very strange. And I see some prominent YouTubers like this where it's like they tend to just start off with by just straight up saying, "Don't worry, I'm not a course seller. I'm just going to give value
Yeah.
for free." It's like, well, what if you did sell a course? Like,
Yeah.
you know what you're
That's
talking
the
about.
thing.
Like,
Yeah.
who's gonna say otherwise? It's not a bad thing.
Bro.
I'd buy from you if I was still running my agency.
Yeah.
So it's very strange that the market's got to that point, and but it comes down to what we spoke about, Ethan. So many low quality products out there,
Yeah.
people are now brushing everyone under the same brush. We not sometimes, but we tend to get it as well. It's normal. It's part of the package where
Yeah.
people see ads and it's like, oh, it's just
Yeah.
another course, and they just tie that into whatever
Yeah.
course they took before, right?
You made such a good point. It's like, why these big YouTubers, it's like they make it seem like it's bad to have a course. It's like Hormozy, like I have nothing to sell you. It's like Hormozy, if you had something to sell me, I would buy. Like
We buy,
your
man.
like
Yo,
he was doing that webinar. I was like, bro, send the
uh,
payment link. Like I'm
like your
trying to
track record is unbelievable, man. Build
yeah.
that
It's like I'm
course.
trying to sign up here, but
Yeah,
either way, but I understand why they have bad
of
products
course.
because it actually is a lot of work.
Yeah,
Like I've been building mine out now. It's like I block the first 5 hours of every single day for just making the program
yeah,
every single day without a doubt. So
yeah.
it's like some people, their marketing is better than their product. Like their YouTube videos are better than the product.
There we
It's
go.
crazy.
That's a killer one. That's, I think, the common trend where the marketing doesn't line up with the product quality. So as a
Yeah.
result, what happens? People get sold the dream, but then when they get into the product, it's like this was
Yeah.
it. And it's funny because I remember this. I mentioned this in I think my a couple interviews ago. Um, you know, I purchased the program, right? Because the guy selling
Mm.
it was like he was like the bee's knees, right? And he's sort of like a industry expert in the
Yeah.
UK, right? I promise you, I bought the program. Do you know what it was? It was a series of Skype call, coaching call recordings. And I'm thinking, this can't be serious. And it was a 1 day in person with him. But, coming back to the point, again, like you said, Ethan, like marketability is one thing, but if your product doesn't line up with that, it's going to lead to a bad
Yeah.
reputation, man. And that's another thing where, like you mentioned, again, to people watching this, right? Ethan operated in a done for you capacity, partnered with some consulting for over 90 other businesses in his niche, right? 90 other agencies, and whatever it is, to the point where even with all that knowledge, he's now
Yeah.
building out a program, but he hasn't even finished it, even with all that knowledge, because it takes time to do something
Yeah.
good here.
Bro, 100%. Like it's but the thing is like you see these guys, like we could be at 100K now. We
Yeah,
could probably be even be further. But it's like I don't want to promote something that's not done.
there we
So
go.
all these people who are like promoting like some 2 hour course that's a half finished Google Doc and like
Yeah, yeah,
recordings from a Skype conversation, it's like, no, like I've seen the standard, I've seen
yeah.
Charles, I've seen Sam Ovens. It's like anything beyond that or below that is it's not gonna cut it.
There we go, man. There we go. So yeah, Ethan, as we wrap up this interview, because I'm appreciative of your time as well, because I know you got a call to take. I want to ask you one simple question, man. And I always ask this to clients I get on an interview with. How does it feel? Like you came from, I know it's a bit of a simple but powerful question, right? You joined the program 1K, like you said, you're a completely different person to who you are now. Now you're in a position where you scaled up a done for your agency, made a ton of money. You're now building up a done with you agency to free up your time and make things more systemized. Have you taken it in or have you reflected to see how far you've come and how much you've achieved and essentially how much your life has changed, man? Because I always love asking this question because people like you, they tend to just tell me, oh no, no, I'm always looking for the next goal. I
Mm.
haven't sat down and thought about it. So
Yeah.
hopefully I can hear something different, but I'm probably not, man. So go ahead. Talk to me, man.
Nah, I appreciate you asking. So I can have my annual reminder to reflect.
There we go.
But yeah, you're spot on. Like you don't think about it, but sometimes, bro, randomly it hits you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, like there's a lot of situations, but just randomly, it's like, oh man, like I think one day now it was obviously it was raining here in Cape Town, which is weird.
Yeah.
But then I saw these people like walking in the rain to their job, and I was like, oh yeah, like I don't have to do that or university. And it's
You're
like I could,
right.
yeah, I'm just here at home, like chilling with like the in the
Yep.
warm. So that is one. And then I'll be honest, the honest feeling is fulfilling.
Mm.
As fruity as that sounds, like man, I would never have said that before.
As woo as it sounds, the
Yeah,
mindset
man,
stuff.
as
Yeah, yeah.
as fluffy as that sounds, man. Um, it does because I've delegated and I've systemized everything that I don't want to work on.
Love
So
it.
I've got, I mean, you met Kian, he's doing
Shout out
really
to
well in the
Kia.
ops.
Yeah.
So it's like he's taking care of a lot of that. Got other people taking care of like the setting, stuff like that. And I can really just focus on building, which is honestly what I love to do. Like it's always been that. So I can just work for 5 hours straight on the thing that I actually want to do. Then I speak to my clients who are actually getting really good results, who are referring other people who are happy.
Yeah.
It's like it's a good life. And I just want to build, man. Like I don't really want to do all like the flashy like
Yeah. Yeah.
Instagram networking. Oh, don't get me started on networking. So, anyways, but
Yeah.
all of that stuff, like I just want to work, man. I just want to,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a good
feels
spot
good
to
though.
be in. There we go. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad you have your pockets of gratitude, man. So yeah, that's good. That's good to know, and we'll definitely
Yeah.
speak because I know you're coming to the mastermind this month. So yeah, final question to you, Ethan. Two groups of people watching this. First of which is existing students. Second of which are people that are naturally on the fence. They may not move forward with the program. They want to find out more, etc., etc. To the current students, what would you say to them based off of your time with us in terms of the best tips to succeed, man? Because I know you've been with us for
Mm.
a long time and like you completely transformed your life.
That's a very good question. I was thinking about this the other day because I don't do it enough.
Yeah,
And this is even something that I forget to do, but it's honestly like the more that you engage with the community, the better you will do.
yeah,
So like the more questions you ask, the more calls you join. Like me and Kian joining your call 2 weeks ago. Like that changed so much. And it was
yeah.
just like a casual, like, hey, maybe
There
we
you
should
go.
join those call. Like, okay. Boom, we're there for an hour. Took all
Yep,
the questions. So that alone, like Will's call too, just join it. So I say
yeah.
the same thing with my clients. It's
Just
like
get
just
active.
sit there. Yeah,
Just
like just do something. Like just
ask me
I don't
some
care
stuff.
what you
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So for the existing students, just use it more.
yeah.
Right. It's there for a reason. It's actually it's actually very good.
There we go. Simple but true, man. Don't stay silent. Use the group, use the calls, and do what you got to
Mm.
do. And even for the people that are probably on the fence, similar to you
Yeah.
probably, where when you first joined, it's like you're talking to your old self. What would you say to them that are thinking about joining, that don't know much about the product, all these things?
Yeah. I was thinking about this question because I was expecting it, but it's like let's just look at it logically. Like
Mhm.
Charlie and Bo are making $1 million per month. You, whoever's watching this, are probably not. So it's like if you do you have a higher chance learning from people making $1 million a month or doing it yourself? Like genuinely. Like be real here. So do with that with do with that what you need. But come on, like whether it's with anyone, and this is another thing going back to courses, like, do I recommend EasyGrow 100%? Like I tell this to everyone, but it's like, just think about it. Like, if you're okay with wasting an extra 5 years, if you're okay with being stagnant for an extra 5 years, by all means, do it yourself. But if you want an expedited process, then there's fundamentally only one way, and it's learning from people who have done what you want to do.
There we go. Boom. There we go. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the interview, guys. If you want to keep up with Ethan, he's got his own YouTube channel, so I'm going to link that in the description below. So be sure to subscribe to him. But yeah, this is pretty much part two with Ethan, and I know he's now scaling up his program for his niche. And we're going to do a part three, obviously, if Ethan permits, once he scales that up,
Oh,
a
yeah,
reasonable
man.
model to 100K per month, not done for you model. But yeah, it's going to be fun. So keep your eyes out for that. And yeah, if you're thinking about joining the program, um, and if you're willing to put in the work to follow a proven framework, roadmap, and have this necessary support, feel free to book in a call with us. And I always say this at the end of my calls, Ethan. I always tell people if you want a magic pill that requires no work whatsoever, no sort of, lessons whatsoever, no failures whatsoever, and you just want to take a pill and then you have the Ferraris, the nice apartment like Ethan has or whatever it is, this program is not for you. I'll be fully transparent with you. Our program is a proven framework, but again, Ethan, I'm sure you'd agree with this. You need to put in the work and you need to take action. You can't just expect to, you know, look at these things on social media and assume that people have the watches and the Ferraris and all this stuff as it's some easy magic pill. Work is required. So if you're not willing to work, I wouldn't recommend this program. But if you are willing to work on the right things in your business and follow a proven roadmap with the relevant support needed, be sure to book a call with us. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed this interview. Keep your eyes out for part three. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers. Bye.